I don't know. But George Kedourie, for all of you.
Hi guys, good morning London. Great to see you. I'd just like to know who was at one of our previous events. So, more than half the room hasn't seen us on stage. This is 6th of October, 2022. That's the day I started with Live Aid. And a couple of days before, because I said I was never going to do this again, I said I'm not interested in stem cells, I'm not interested in made with stolen, aborted fetuses and stolen placenta out of the species. But I also said, I want to talk to somebody who's been working with this for a while. I got on the phone with Kedourie, and the first thing I said to him was, I'm never going to do this again. So here we are. He wasn't going to do it again, and maybe some of you are never going to do it again. Look, before I say anything, I want to say thank you. They've all disappeared, but thank you to the corporate team. So I didn't want to say thank you to them because they support us amazingly. I want to say thank you to everybody in my team, in my organisation, thank you to everybody in my upline, and thank you to everybody else for coming here today.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Okay, who's excited? Great, love to hear that. So they wanted me to talk a little about international perspectives. I live on a mountain on an island in the sea, up in the mountains in Mallorca, and there's nobody really around. So we have Zoom, we have WhatsApp, and we can interact in a different way than people could do 20 years ago. Guys, take advantage of that. Chris, who's over here, he probably tell his story, but we haven't met for 3 years. We were talking on a Zoom call, and I think probably tell the story, but one thing and another, with a guy in South Africa I met personally, we built a huge organization in South Africa. Connecting doesn't matter whether it's in person or not in person. When we finally met in Tampa last year, I kept looking at him and said, I thought you were short. It was like over 3 days, it took a while. So, look, Dr. Stacey said something which I'm going to incorporate into mine. Do you feel your hair grow? Because people tell me we don't feel anything. Do you feel your hair grow? No, you don't feel your hair grow. What I tell people say to me, how long should I be using the patches for? And I say, how long are you going to use toothpaste?
Right.
How long are you going to use toothpaste? You're always going to use toothpaste. Why would you give up the patches if you see those improvements over time? A little bit on me, I was famous for a cough. I would explode into a cough 5 times a day for 4 or 5 minutes, and I've been to every kind of specialist. Colonoscopy, endoscopy, MRI scan, nuclear MRI scan, CAT scan, X-rays, lung specialist, allergy tests, emotional therapy sessions, in case it was to do with my mum or my dad or my child. Everybody said, you're fine. And I would cough. I would explode into cough. And everybody who knew me would tell the others who thought I was about to croak, they'd say, ignore him. Anyway, my first call with Harry, I said to him, listen, Harry, how long have you been in this story? He says to me, 4 months. I go, okay, 4 months. How many people in your organization? He said 900. I said to myself, if this geezer can have 900, I can have 1,000. So I was rounding the numbers up. So then I said to him, okay, so you have 900. How many people do you invite? He said 25. I said, okay. And how many people are doing something? He said about half, 12, 13. I said, no. How many people are really doing something? He said 5 to 6. So I said to myself, this guy's telling me the truth. There's something called Pareto principle, 80-20. So 20% of the people you invite are doing something. So, international. So I live in an island on the mountain sea. He's in New York. He's in South Africa. That's a little bit international. And what I can say is, when I started, I told people all over the world. I got on the phone and I started telling people in on the mainland of Spain, people in the UK, people whom I've known for years. And some listened, some didn't. Doesn't really matter. There's an expression, some will, some won't, so what next? Some will, some won't, so what next? You have to develop that attitude. Olga said, no's, they used to hurt her. I've had some of the most incredible no's. One of the friends, he asked me, he said, I'm not going to use something that's stirred around in a bucket with... You will hear all sorts of things. Don't pay any attention. We've got something that's so powerful to help the world on every level. People's health and well-being, and this is something that Harry said to me way back. People's health and well-being, people's emotional health, people's spiritual health, and people's financial health. When I think of the messages I've received over time, you can't imagine the joy this has brought to our family. Families, when one member of that family gets out of a situation that has had the family suffering over years, that's number one. Or it's very hard for me to be in a bad mood, or I'm in a much better mood. All these things, every single day I get messages like that. Then, spiritual health. I said no, I'm not interested. If I think that no had won over looking a bit deeper, there are people all over the world who will still be living in excruciating pain. I met a man in South Africa. The guy had a home invasion. He was in a wheelchair. He had paid to go to Italy, to Switzerland, not to Italy, for assisted suicide at Dignitas. He couldn't fly because of COVID, the tickets were cancelled. He was in his wheelchair, and his friend in London kept calling him and saying, you need to use these patches. You need to use these patches. Finally, after 21 months of her calling him, he said, okay, I'll use the patch. One patch. He gets out of his wheelchair on one patch. He's a rock climber. We have a video of him climbing the rock wall the next day. And he's like, I can't repeat what he said in public, but he's like, and then I'm going to spend the rest of my life telling people about this. We have something so powerful here. So, I'm going to tell you this story. I'm at dinner, a lunch, one of those events, and you're at round tables or the other room. Man next to me, what do you do? And I'm telling him, he says, I'm very skeptical. And then this little over there, talking to her, she says, I'm very skeptical. I go, okay, that's fine. They come to say goodbye to me at the end of the dinner, and I said, hey, Mr. Skeptical, Mrs. Skeptical, Mrs. Skeptical, Mrs. Skeptical. Play with it, have fun. Constantly, I learned from a marketer years and years ago, he said, don't always be selling, always be shipping. So I'm always shipping ideas, poking, scratching, playing, see if there's an echo. I'm always looking for the echo. And you can find an echo with somebody in 30 seconds. Okay, they wanted me to talk about international as well. So one of the things I'm going to say, international, with LifeWave, we've been playing Marrakesh with the Romanian girls. That was fun. We've been in Prague, we've been in Italy, we've been in Greece, where else were we? Italy, Greece, Texas, yeah. And then in my travels to LifeWave, I've been in the United States, I've been in Mexico, I've been in South Africa, and these things couldn't have happened because and this is really key, guys, you need to understand this. The money that LifeWave sends us is an expression of our success in helping other people. So please get that into your head. The money that LifeWave sends us is an expression of our success in helping other people. Because a lot of people get twisted up about money. They go, yeah, I was going to ask you a question. So who here hears people say, yeah, the health side, but not so much the money?
Right.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
You hear that? Well, I laugh at that. If you, and most people want to help other people, so if you want to help other people, get into your heads please, and transmit this. The money that LifeWave sends us is an expression of our success in helping other people. And in other rooms I said, if that gets you, please stand up, open your arms wide. You don't need to do that, but really do that. Feel the money coming and help as many people as you can. Okay. Javi Olga talked about social responsibility. We have a broken world which needs a lot of help. We have, with David, with what he does, we have something that we can offer to the world. Not everybody will want it in the beginning, and some people won't ever want it. But we have something so powerful to offer the world that it really is our social responsibility to get it everywhere. So, she had $5. My daughter and I were discussing which tomatoes to buy and we could have 3 or 4. With the 2008 crisis, things were really difficult. Got over that 2008 crisis, and then with the COVID crisis, I had 3 businesses. 2 of them were eaten by COVID. I lost hundreds of thousands of euros eaten by whole COVID nonsense. I had one project that survived, but it was a rental boat that needed tourists to rent it. 2 seasons with no rentals and having to pay the moorings and the maintenance and so on. It was a difficult period. So, LifeWave, I was looking for something, but I was never going to do network marketing. How much time have I got? 3 minutes. 3 minutes, you know. All right. 2.5. 2.5. That's something. We actually get to know people who we don't know. And this man over here, Pat Robinson, we got to know over a WhatsApp group, and I think he messes with me fairly often, and I mess with him. That's okay. So LifeWave is happy with the growth. We can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. We have a job here to do, and please, guys, really get this from your head to your heart and take it to the world. I'm not sure what else I should say. Maybe they need some extra. Okay, yes. I'm going to say this. Studies. I'm not a doctor. I've watched a lot of people try and be a doctor. Don't try and be a doctor. Doctors can be doctors. I heard there were studies, so I went to look at the studies, and I read 2. I couldn't understand whether the conclusion was good or bad. I don't know. So I have a friend, he comes from the medical world, laboratories. He read nearly all of them, and he can talk that language. I can't. But I said to Javi, when he's finished, put the bracelet on the love of his life. I said to Javi, did you read any studies? He said, I didn't need to. We saw what it did to our son. Thank you.
So yesterday, when we gave the microphone, they all disappeared. So they didn't hear me say thank you to you all. Thank you to you've done amazing events. It was great. So I kind of wanted to put it all together today. We've heard a lot of things from a lot of people. Amazing speakers, no? Yeah. Amazing stories. And we learned from everybody. So one of the things, he also wanted me to talk about, I didn't say that just now, about working in the deep. Now, when I first started, yesterday you heard me say that when I first met Javi on the phone, I said to him, how many people have you got in your organization and all that stuff. And I would say something at the time. I would say, because I did network marketing once, mid-2000s, and I learned something when I did that, which is the money is in the deep. And I was saying the money is in the deep, and Javi was saying something that I thought was similar. He said, I go down into the depth. And I was thinking, it's the same, or it sounds like the same, or Anyway, after 4 months, I said, Javi, you know what? In 4 months you had 900 people, in 4 months I got 350 people. I'm not unhappy, but what's the difference? Then he said to me, I go down into the depth, and he explained to me what he means by that. So, something that I say is you need to have, and a lot of people have talked about this, on the one hand, persistence and consistency. On the other hand, you need patience and passion. In between the two, you need the willingness and desire to learn. Not everybody has that. I've got people, in my first time, who have zero willingness and desire to learn, complaining that they're not making the money that they think they should be making, but they won't learn. Aside from all of that, and this is really key as well, guys, people need to have made a decision. So you need to find out from your people, really, have they made a decision? Some people do it in 10 seconds, some people take 10 months, and some people take 2 years. But it's impossible to work with somebody who hasn't made a decision or somebody who has no desire and willingness to learn. So that was something that for me was a key learning moment. So, for example, we have here Tanya. She came up from Cape Town for 4 days. I started to see her asking questions in one of my groups. I go, she's not getting the answers for the questions she wants. So I reached out to her. Hi, I'm George. And gave her answers, and we begin a conversation. She's what, 10 levels below me? I don't know, a long way. But I then got on a call to help her with lots of her people, and then she said, maybe I'll come up to London for 4 days. Actions speak louder than words. So, like Harry always says, look at the feet, never mind what people say. So, people will demonstrate to you, by their actions, whether they're going to be a possible future leader. Harry always says, either they will identify themselves to you, or you will identify them. In the beginning, I said, I want to talk to somebody, so I put my hand up. I saw Tanya, so this is how this develops. Chris is always talking about a bug they got in South Africa called a shongololo. And I heard him for about 10 months talking about his shongololo, and finally I said, you know what, I better go and find out what a shongololo is. It's a millipede. So, what's the thing about the millipede? Sometimes, some of the legs are moving and some of the legs are still, and then other of the legs are moving and other legs are still. So this is what is happening in our organization. So it's important to understand that. You know, I always say this is like any business that you do. Some days are great, some days are really boring. Some days are very exciting and some days are just a headache. But it's something that if you want to make this work for you, you need to do this every day. Not just some days, not just on weekends, not just, but every day. Give time to this every day. Give time in your mind to this every day, as well as in the practice. So, there's another key thing here. It doesn't matter if you're on a mountain on the line in the sea, as I am. It doesn't matter if you're in somebody's inside leg or somebody else's inside leg. Build it from within yourself. Build it from within yourself. Drive it from yourself. It's not your upline's job to do it for you. It's your upline's job to help you do it. But if you drive it from yourself and you do it every day, the result is inevitable. You know, we've heard people talk about personal growth, working on yourself. And you've heard me say 80% of the work we're doing, 80% of the story is the work we do on ourselves. So, one of the things that is really important to develop is an internal thermostat. What do I mean by that? Chris, I knew he was back against the wall. I also knew he was going to do this with me. He didn't know that. But I also knew that I could only give him a certain amount of information. I couldn't go to him, because it was physically impossible because he's in South Africa, and put my hands around his neck and go, pay attention to this. I couldn't do that. So I could send him stuff, but not too often. I'm in a big hurry, but I'm never in a hurry. So I can't be in a big hurry with him because I can't get through his brain fog. So I send him a little bit of audio, a little bit of this, but my internal thermostat told me I can only do this every 3 days or so. Yeah? So develop your internal thermostat to understand with the people that you're working with how fast and how far you can go with them. And it's a bit of an art. So I'll give you another example. Dr. Allison, where is she? There she is. Okay. Dr. Allison, listen to what's in your mind. Not what's in your mind, what your mind is telling you. In between awake and asleep, and in between sleep and awake. With logic, I would never have thought of Dr. Allison. With logic, I would never have her on a list. I wake up one morning and I go, Dr. Allison comes to my mind. I think I better talk to Dr. Allison. Now, we met 15 years ago at an event, and we said hello over Facebook maybe once every 3 years. I reached out to Alison on Facebook. I said, hey Alison, how are you? I want to talk to you. Something I want to tell you. Thumbs up. I just told you I'm in a big hurry, I'm never in a hurry. Thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up's looking good. It's just before Christmas. So a few days later I said, Alison, you know what? You're probably busy with your Christmas and I'm about to go on a trip. How about we speak when I come back? I left the hook there. I left the possibility there. And I come back and I said, hey Alison, thumbs up, and then another time nothing. And I said to myself one Sunday morning about the 20th of January, time is now. Call Alison, no call her, I messaged her, she said, how about right now? I said, cool. So we had our first talk, and my internal thermostat said to me, you can give her a lot of information because she's ready to receive it. 2 days later, she said, what an amazing follow-up. So develop that thermostat. You've heard people say, don't puke on people. I'm going to tell you 2 quick stories. You've heard of say less. I don't want to waste my energy. We deal with a lot of people every day, so we need to conserve our energy and give as much input that we can to people as possible without depleting our own energy. So I'm on an airplane, and there's a woman, somebody might have heard the story, but there's a woman in that aisle on the other side of the aisle, smiles at me, and I go, oh, okay, that's good. I said, where are you from? She says, oh, I'm from San Diego. I said, where are you going? She says, oh, I'm going to Madrid and Barcelona. I said, I'll give you a couple of restaurants in Barcelona, a good spot in Madrid. She said, oh, thank you very much. And this is a question you guys can ask a lot. I say to her, what do you do when you're not going to Madrid and Barcelona on holiday? People don't want to know about what do you do, it's boring. What do you do when you're not going to Madrid and Barcelona on holiday? And she goes, oh, I work with ADHD children. I said, oh, maybe I should tell you about what I'm doing. I started to tell her, 30 seconds, she's laughing at me with her eyes. I said, I can tell you more if you like. She says, no, I'm good, thanks. Didn't need to waste any more time with her, yeah? Another lady, another queue, another airport, goes in front of me. She was here at the last event. She's from Zimbabwe, on holiday. Her family in Zimbabwe lives in Essex. I said, so what do you do when you're not going on holiday? Your family in Zimbabwe? She says, I forget exactly what children. I said, maybe I should tell you. She says, amazing. She came here, signed up with what was called a gold pack at the time. So, some will, you've heard me say this before, some will, some won't. So what next? So then, I had a job once. I thought I was going to do it for a month. And on the first day I said I'm going to do it for 2 weeks. The second day I said I'll do it for the week. Third day I said I'll do it till Friday. Fourth day at lunchtime, I said I'm out of here. So Chris reminded me that he stuck around longer than I was able to. Okay, things that will help with the people who are in your group, or who come in, and with reaching out to people. You have to become a little bit like, I get lost with this, but Chris talks about this a lot, being consciously unconscious stuff, what as it called. Anyway, learn to be like a cat. Learn to land like a cat in any situation. And a good way to do that, a good way to meet people maybe, because that's what I did at the time. I went to a Toastmasters meeting once. I thought I'd get people to meet people to join me in my network. And that didn't happen, but I actually learned a lot of Toastmasters. So it could be good for people who come up to me today and say, how do I talk to people? Toastmasters will help you to talk, but it will help you even more to listen. It took me a while to see that, but one of the things they do in the Toastmasters is they get everybody to evaluate everybody else's speech, and that gets you to listen and to learn to listen not only to what's being said, but to what's not being said, so you can help those people a bit better. They've got something which I love called table topics. You can give me any word or any object and I will take it where I want within a minute. And so, for example, I wear this here. It's an Aeon. 5 conversations, 5 days with Aeon. I'm in a CAT scan machine. I think I said this yesterday. Maybe did I say this about CAT scan? No. So I have a CAT scan in my yoga. Before I come, there's a woman there. She's the number 2. She's the assistant, and we have a 1-minute conversation before I go in the machine. And when I come out of the machine, I felt we connected. I come out of the machine, we have a 30-second conversation. She said, I've seen one of those before. What is it? She's signing up with me. You don't need a lot of time. You just need to connect. Find that place. You want to find that place where you connect with people. We talk about trust. Chris said, know, like, and trust. But you can develop trust with people very, very quickly if you listen to them and see whether, all right, onboarding, okay. Community. Community is a great part of it too. Chris, Diana, who's in my Spanish line, we do a lot developing our communities. You know, we have people who come, they begin because of the product, they kind of stay with us because they're enjoying everything else that's going on around. And Chris is nodding his head here. So that's part of the retention that Alexandra was talking about. So, I always have these little, this is an interesting one. Chris one day calls me and he says to me, he heard somebody say this, and he thought this is really important. Yesterday, Kedourie talked about chicken shit, excuse my language. Often what we do is we try and work with the weak people. If you want your businesses to thrive, work with the strong people. I know that this is, again, one of those things that's counterintuitive maybe, because we really want to help those people but if people are not showing up, if people say, I want to do this, but they never get on the call, if they say, again, I want to do this, but they're not present, it's very hard to do anything with them. So, really give your time and attention to those who are showing up and who, even if they haven't said they want to do it directly, but they're showing up every single time, watch what's going on in your organizations. All right. So, Kedourie uses an expression called a gut punch. I use a kick. So yesterday, thank you, Kedourie, he gave me a little bit of a gut punch, which was not painful. It was actually very useful. But we need to do that with our teams. So my thing is be kind, help everybody, and sometimes give a kick. So what do I mean by a kick? And this, sometimes, Diana's here because I gave her a kick or two along the way, and that made her sit up. She's nodding her head. But I'm going to give you this different example because there's a chap here who lives in my local lab that happens to know somebody in my organization. And this woman, she said to me, oh, I love those products. It's done so much for me. And she spent 10 minutes telling me how great X39 was for her. And I said, but yeah, I'm not seeing you really doing it. And she said, yeah, well, you know that hairdresser who saw my hair was better, it didn't work for her. And I said to her, listen, why are you allowing, you just spent 10 minutes telling me how good X39 has been for you. Why would you allow somebody else to take away your dreams? You're 52 years old. You told me you don't want to be doing what you're doing in 5 years' time. So are you going to pay attention or not? It's a kick. And she said to me, no, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing in 5 years' time. So this is really, really important. As there's an expression, slowly, slowly catch your monkey. And some people, like I said yesterday, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, I'm going to do it. How do I do it? What do I do? What do I need to learn? And other people, and so with that slowly, slowly catch your monkey, keep, without wasting your energy, keep sending a little bit of information, a little bit of a poke, a little bit of a push until, and if that person wakes up. Alright, congratulations on your cars. Seriously, congratulations on your cars. I love it. So, Kedourie he talks about 30, 60, 90 days. I'm not so great on timelines. I'm better on mini goals. I call them mini goals. So I give myself lots of mini goals. So I said to myself, for example, a mini goal. When I get my first €5,000 a week, I'm going to go and buy myself a €200 bottle of brandy. I like good brandy. I like to have some brandy in the house. Probably in the winter, I go through maybe 3 bottles of brandy and nip in the cold evenings in Mallorca. So, but I never bought a €200 bottle of brandy. It's kind of extravagant, maybe. Maybe not for everybody, but you know, it's like, okay, so €5,000 a week, €200 bottle of brandy, tastes lovely. Little present to myself for achieving one of the mini goals. Give yourselves presents. Set up your mini goals. Be realistic. That's another thing. Be realistic. I'm going to say to you, Brian said, write it down. Somebody else said, how we talk about writing it down. So, where do you want to go to from where you are right now? Think about that. Mull it over. And tomorrow, tonight, the next day, write it down. But do something else. Add a number to it. A year ago, we did a panel, and Stacey was, Dr. Stacey, excuse me, she was moderating the panel, and she asked everybody on the panel, what was your goal for a year's time in your money? And everybody gave their number. I gave my number, which was at that time €1,000 a day. I was able to say to Stacey, that happened. You know, make your goal and write it down. I was at one point really back against the wall, and my daughter came and she wrote a €10,000 check and stuck it on my computer, and I went, that's not going to happen. I was like, how is that going to happen? So I go to a networking meeting, I meet a guy, he says, we talk, I seem to have struck a chord with him, and he says, will you be a consultant for our company? And it was €10,000, just to begin, you know. So what happened next? The wall with my neighbour fell down. You know how much that cost to fix? €10,000. But you know what? It wasn't a headache at the time. It's like, so okay, maybe this writing thing down stuff does work. I've never written things down like that, but what I always do, and have always done, is I put it in my mind and I kind of visualize it. I have a gate to the house, and you know those double doors that people have, and you have to open those doors. And I got so sick of this opening those doors. And I said to myself, you know what, I want to find a gate which is 1/3 and 2/3, so I only have to open half of it. And only open the other third if there's something big to come in. So, a month later, I'm driving by some warehouse and I see a gate exactly the size of my entryway, which is 2/3 and 1/3. I went to the guy and said, what's that gate doing? He said, oh, I'm in for a time, but they don't want it. I said, can I buy it? So, visualize stuff, see it happening, and, you know, thank you, Lord, it seems to happen. This is, you know, things that I would share to you. So, back to onboarding. When I was working with Chris, we spoke every day. We spoke every single day for, I don't know, for probably a year. And, you know, things like, Chris says, I'm going to come in on Monday. I said, no, you're not. Find the money, you're coming in today. He says, why? I said, because I know who's coming in over the weekend, and that person and their whole downline will be below you for the rest of the time. And he's like, okay, I'll do that. So, for example, it gives me great pleasure here today to say, Trudy Madawala, she came in on Wednesday, and she was, yesterday, manager. So big round of applause for Trudy. So, you know, why am I talking about Trudy besides the congratulations? Why? Because it takes a while to find somebody who actually wants to work with you. People do a lot of, I don't know if I want to do this, maybe it could be and should be, and I don't know. Trudy very clearly says, I want to do this, I want you to mentor me, and we talk every day. Maybe 5 times a day. there's a moment, at the beginning it's a little bit tough. Even maybe not at the beginning, there's stage when you go, wow. I feel for you with a mobile phone story. I think I would have gone insane. But so there's some days where we've spoken several times today, because my job here is to help Trudy with my knowledge, my experience, my whatever it is, to get from where she wants to be, from where she is to where she wants to be, and she's very clear that that's what she wants to do. So onboarding is also important. Again, I talk about listening. It's important to listen to those people so that you're not wasting your energy chasing them. You heard me yesterday saying, inspiring. Like to inspire people, don't want to motivate people. People need to motivate themselves. If they want to do it, it's up to them. It's not up to you. You can't push them. You can give them little kicks. Okay. So there's another thing. Feeling your numbers. Look at your numbers. I look at my numbers every day. I look at my numbers every single day, and my downlines every single day. I think about the people in the downlines. What should I be doing? Who should I be talking to? And I'm also, because you heard me yesterday say the money that life sends us is an expression of our success in helping other people. So I look at my numbers because that's showing me that I'm actually being effective in what I'm doing, what I've chosen to do. I have chosen to share with David's vision, and Trey talked about it, and I talked about it earlier this morning on the video, sharing David's vision of getting this into 1 billion homes. I'm delighted that my financial anxieties are gone. I'm delighted I can help my daughter to do stuff. I'm delighted that I'm now working on the next level, what I think was called generational wealth. But it's really important to look at your numbers every single day. And I'm going to, if I may, I've had a conversation with somebody who's here who has kind of disregarded her numbers. And because of that disregard of the numbers, has got into a bit of a mess. So it's very important to understand that the numbers we're looking at, the money, we have to give it the same regard as we're giving to our families, our children, and so on and so forth. This is a really important thing to have. Okay, so how many goals? I got 4 minutes. That was a quick 30 minutes, or did you tell my time that? He's always doing this to me, 4 minutes to it, 2 minutes to it. I had 30 seconds on a cruise to talk to 450 marketers, so it's 4 minutes. So, what else am I? This is important. I think Tracy talked, Dr. Stacey talked about ambulance chasers. Don't be an ambulance chaser. I'm not looking for ill people. It took me a while to understand this, but many people are married to their situation. I have a cousin, I love her, she loves me. She has got muscular dystrophy. I called her after about 10 months. I said, I feel I need to talk to you about this. I didn't hear back from her. I sent her some testimonials, and 2 weeks later I said, no, I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. She spent about half an hour telling me how all her capital was going on looking after herself. 5,000 a month. She wasn't willing to spend 100 a month on the patches. What can you do? You can only tell people. So I'm always looking for hungry people who want something more out of life. So do that. I have a lot of people who keep saying to me, that person's got that. Yes, tell them, but don't just be looking for ill people. Look for hungry people. Javi said something a long time ago which really struck, and I'm going to tell this here. When, I'm on calls with like big network marketers. Those like chest beating fellows. He's laughing. So we're not ego driven. This is a purpose driven. We have a massive purpose here. Share these passions with people to help change the world, to help people improve their lives, their health lives, their money lives, and so on. Okay, I will. Chris also, he's delighted that his brother's here. He also, I know that he was kind of unhappy because his brother was paying no attention, forgive me. And it took a long time for Chris to get through to his brother. Now I'm going to talk about my brother. So, hey, Michael, I'm in London. I'm doing this event. Oh, okay. I'm in London. I'm on the way to New York, to America, to Florida. I'm going to an event. Oh, okay. I'm back in London for another. Oh, okay. I told him once or twice. Zero. Okay. So 4 months ago, he calls me. He says, "My wife's niece is using those patches of yours. We want them." Did he listen to me? No. No, he didn't listen to me. He listened to somebody else, third party, nothing to do with me. After 1 month, he says to me, "I'm not sure if it's a coincidence, but my 20-year coffee's gone." What you gonna do? So, be patient, love people where they're at, be in a hurry while not pressing people, keep poking, and enjoy this. Have fun with it, really, have fun with it. That's the best thing I can say.